Well, there it is, the 20th day of December 2020. My hopes that you had a fruitful week. Straight to what makes our top stories tonight. A cross-section of Rwandans have welcomed the decision to review certain articles related to spelling of Kinyarwanda reviewed in 2014. Kigali City residents who are concerned about property tax are happy that Rwanda Revenue Authority has extended the deadline for taxation. Residents of the northern province who live around the border areas of Uganda say their infrastructure, including schools, clinics and markets, have become a catalyst for development. And onto the international scene, in an attempt to resolve a dispute and de-escalate, the diplomatic religion leaders convened in a special meeting to mediate Kenya and Somalia.
Today,
A very good evening to you and welcome to Rwanda Television News with me, Sam Kalisa. A cross-section of Rwandans have welcomed the decision to review certain articles related to the spelling of Kinyarwanda reviewed in 2014. This was, however, not implemented as they were not based on the opinion of Rwandans. Fiona Mbabazi kickstarts tonight's bulletin with this report.
In schools at different levels, among professional journalists, on billboards and in various organs, this is where Kinyarwanda is used. From 2014 to the present, some articles of the Kinyarwanda spellings were changed. However, various organs have always refuted this because this was never based on the opinion of the Rwandans. Thus, this year, the Rwandan government decided to revise certain articles of the instructions relating to the spelling of Kinyarwanda because some found difficulties, a decision that has been warmly welcomed. We were not consulted the first time. It would be better if we were consulted because we are among those who teach this language and we are trying to help the Rwandan children who will speak this. If the consonant K accompanied by I reads Ki, then we say Ichuma Kachiru. You understand that these are difficulties with other spoken languages, but if it is written correctly, then our children will not have a problem. We are writing a story, but to you it does not make sense. But if we start to discuss this and we take back our original Kinyarwanda as it was known, everyone will be able to understand what we are writing. We write articles so that people can be able to understand what we mean. The Deputy Director of the Academy of Culture and teacher of Kinyarwanda language in Uwigirimana University, Jean-Claude, indicates that these instructions of the spelling of Kinyarwanda had created confusion and debates among its users because gaps were observed in these instructions. If everyone writes the same amajyepfo, why would you want to change that? You find that one writes umwarimu with L and the other with R. You tell him or her the reason for making the choice is the spelling should be taken seriously. Now, in 2014, these instructions, the principle of spelling was neglected, and if everyone writes a word the same way, then it is wrong. We have to change it so that it becomes our reality. The Minister of State in the Ministry of Youth and Culture, Edward Wamhuriki, indicates that the Rwandan government took the decision to review the Kinyarwanda spelling instructions so that it is based on the opinion of the Rwandans, especially since the 2014 instructions were not applied. We are making changes that say that no one can touch our Rwandan language without consulting the citizens themselves. So we are exploring all avenues. What I expect from these instructions is not to go through point after point. There are two things that caused unnecessary debate to leave them as they were, but there are other things that are not in the instructions and need to be included. What the Rwandans found wrong is what we usually put it as it is written. If we change that, the children won't sound like their father because he studied something different in school. This is what we want to tell the Rwandans, that we want to move forward together and that the language will help unite the country. For those who had started to apply the instructions relating to the spellings of Kinyarwanda, especially in primary school, and those that had books that had been published, the Minister of State at the Ministry of Youth and Culture indicates that the students will learn about these changes in time. A child who, for example, turned 6 and is in the 6th grade, took these things as theory. This will complicate a little bit, but because there's not much changes to what we have done, especially the consonants that are accompanied by others which have been the subject of debate, I am sure that with good collaboration with MINEDIC and those books that have been published, this will be achieved. In the 2014 revision of the Kinyarwanda spelling instructions, 13 out of the 46 points were revised. Fiona Mbabazi reporting for RTV News.
Thank you very much, Fiona, for that story. Kigali City residents who are concerned about property tax are happy that Rwanda Revenue Authority has extended the deadline for taxation. They say that a 3-month extension gives them more time to meet the deadline this time. Nevertheless, at the end of this year, some still find it difficult to pay taxes due to various reasons, as Martina Abera reports.
Residents from across the city of Kigali have understood the importance of taxes and even take it as a basis for their development. The development of these roads is derived from tax money. If we hadn't paid taxes, there would be no roads from Kigali to Rulindo. These roads also help us work and develop ourselves, which is where we also get the money to pay taxes. When taxes are paid properly, there are changes, both in the budget and in public interest, such as the roads or in schools like adding classrooms to avoid overcrowding. I think that when a citizen pays taxes well and pays on time, the budget is prepared accordingly. In a statement released by Rwanda Revenue Authority on December 18th this year, there is a change in the dates of taxation on property for the year 2020. Rwanda Revenue Authority advises taxpayers to file tax returns early because there is a provision to make it easier to pay in installments. It is a decision that was well received by the Rwandan citizens because it helps them to be self-sufficient in their ability to pay their taxes. This decision is helpful to the people as they were all affected by COVID-19, which caused the economy to experience a downturn as well. The fact that the deadline has been extended is very important to us because residents of Kigali will use this time to look for money and be able to pay taxes on time. Because of the limited capacity of the community, we are grateful that they have extended the deadline to pay taxes, and we promise that we will have collected all the money to complete this process. We believe that we will be able to do so. I appreciate this decision by Rwanda Revenue Authority because it considered how this year has been and the festive season that is knocking on our doorsteps. The good thing is that children are in school now. It was really hard to pay taxes while kids were about to go to school. Local authorities have also started urging the public to start paying taxes on time so that they are not left behind. Bugesera District Mayor Mutabazi Wishad says the extension will allow taxpayers to pay on time. The fact that the deadline has been extended will help taxpayers pay on time, which will ensure less people being fined. The major issue is that residents of Kigali hadn't adjusted to the changes that were made, and it mostly takes time for them to do so. So we will use this opportunity to make sure residents pay taxes on time and to provide more information in regards to the changes that were made. In addition to the local tax law, advisory councils within the districts in the country are responsible for determining the value of property tax. Martina Abera, RTV News.
Thank you very much, Martina, for that report. With just a week to go before the Central African Republic's presidential and parliamentary elections, there are reports of acts of violence by armed groups in the country, with some fearing that such acts could interfere with the conduct of the elections. Speaking to RBA, Vladimir Monteiro, a spokesperson of the UN keeping mission in Central Africa, MINUSCA, painted a picture of the situation in the country ahead of the presidential elections.
La situation, elle s'était améliorée.
Security has improved since the signing of the Central African Republic's Peace and Reconciliation Agreement on February 6, 2019. Other steps have been taken, especially disarmament of armed groups. Sadly, however, there have been some acts of violence. Nearly a week has passed since the reemergence of militants in the Western Central African Republic following the rejection of former President Francois Bozizé's candidacy. There are armed groups who even signed the peace agreement, including 3L, MPC, and Anti-Baraka. The groups have chosen to ally with former president, and they're the perpetrators of attacks in various parts of the country that have displaced civilians and killed some security personnel.
Vladimir Monteiro also says that despite some acts of violence, various bodies are organized to fight armed groups and secure the election process.
On Friday, the UN Secretary-General, through his spokesperson, commented on the security in Central Africa, stressing that the constitution is unwavering, meaning that elections should be held on December 27th, which is 1 week ahead. No other option. We think these attacks are a way of trying to disrupt the elections as part of the mission. MINUSCA and the security forces, our army, the police from Rwanda, Burundi, Cameroon, Bangladesh, Portugal and others all around are ready to find a solution that will make the country peaceful and help voters get to the polling stations.
A peace accord signed in February 2019 between the government and 14 armed groups has led to lower violence, although they remain entrenched. Presidential and legislative votes in Central African Republic are set to take place on December 27, 2020. Now, residents of the northern province who live around the border areas of Uganda say their infrastructure, including schools, clinics and markets, have become a catalyst for development, as they've been the case in the recent years. Before we go to this, allow me to have this story that for the first time on the American continent, the Association for the Survivors of the Genocide Against the Tutsi, IWUKA, will be established. The organization was officially launched on Saturday, December 19th, 2020, at the ceremony held using Zoom technology to prevent coronavirus. This evening, we are joined by Jason Nshimye, the elected executive chairperson of IWUKA in the United States of America. Good evening, Jason, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Good evening.
As an organization that represents the survivors of the genocide against the Tutsi, what does the establishment of this organization on the American continent mean to you?
It means more to bring survivors of genocide together and working together toward the justice for our people and fight against criminals and other people who were involved in the genocide.
All right, Jason, this comes as there are many people who took part in the genocide against the Tutsi right here in Rwanda, hiding in different countries on the American continent. How is IWUKA in the US planning to work with the US government in particular, plus other countries on the American continent, in bringing these people to justice?
We have different ways to communicate with them. We have many agencies here in USA that are in charge for that kind of matter. So we're going to improve our communication with those agencies that are in charge to follow them and arrest them in case they are convicted, charge them, and if some are have to be deported to face the justice in Rwanda. So we are here to work together to achieve those goals and bring those information out because those criminals are hiding, but still the justice is waiting for them.
And finally, Ibuka in the United States of America have been launched, and what's your agenda in this year? We're coming in 2021 and the rest of the years.
We have more agendas, but the main one are to bring people together, to bring the genocide survivors together, and work together and communicate and share the information we have. And by working together, we know that we're going to achieve more, and that's what the main goal. And but for now, we are just here doing the same thing that we have been doing because the Ibuka USA is not just as new as it seems like because we have been working hard since many years ago. But Ibuka USA was officially launched yesterday. So, but we have been working toward the justice and helping survivors and doing everything we should do as people because we don't have a choice. This is our job and we have to do what we have to do.
Thank you very much, Jason, and have a good time. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
All right. Now, residents of the northern province of Rwanda who live around the border areas of Uganda say that their infrastructure, including schools, clinics and markets, have become a catalyst for development as they have been the case in the recent years.
Umrerwa Josiane, of Rwandan descent, was a businesswoman in Uganda before being dismissed because of her nationality, together with her colleague, who was given just 6 hours to leave Uganda. We found them at the Gatuna border, where they work since moving back to Rwanda. I started working in Uganda from 2015 up to 2017, and I've been working here since 2018. There is security here, as much as you could make a lot of profit over there. It was possible that you could wake up the next day without the money. For instance, sometimes they could ask you to pay different tax from others just because you were Rwandan. They gave me just 6 hours to pack everything and leave the country. I don't know of any crime I had committed. Before, we used to think a proper livelihood lied on the other side, but it was a lie. We are also able to work this side. Every week I go to Kigali and shop and I'm able to sustain myself. There is a vocational school in Mukarange sector in Gicumbi district. The school is one of the examples of infrastructure that is transforming the lives of people around. Uwamahoro Angelique is one of the beneficiaries and has built a house and started a business from her earnings when this school was being constructed. Before we were farmers, when the school was being built, it was a source of income. I used to earn 1,500 and I would save all of it. I have saved up to 150,000 Rwandan francs and I went to Sako and got a loan. I completed my house and used the rest of the money I had left for other things too. The TVET school in the area is a school that is expected to change lives in a practical way, as explained by engineer Dukuzumuremyi Prote, who is in charge of the construction work of this school. The project is worth 726 million Rwandan francs and is comprised of the school administration block, classroom blocks, teachers' hostels, an electricity workshop and mechanics workshop. That's the first phase that's being built. On the other hand, the construction of clinics is also in full swing. The director of Chaninga Health Center, Irangonda Gregoire, says the health posts was established especially to offer services to the people who find this as a solution because they no longer cross the border to seek for these services. Northern Province Governor Gatabazi says similar projects will continue in the areas to help young people get jobs. The main services were schools, education, and extending trading services to locals, which is going to be made consistent. But the other thing where His Excellency asked us to put in effort is job creation for the youth, because these young people are sometimes involved in drug abuse and they cross over the borders to go look for jobs. But now these schools, hospitals, and markets that are being built are aimed at creating jobs for young people, so these projects will continue to create opportunities for those that don't have jobs yet. In addition to markets, clinics, and schools, residents around the border in the northern province are also beneficiaries of other development projects such as electricity, water, communication towers, and a large road project is planned to connect all parts of the border from Nyagatare district to Burera district through the Chumbi district.
The Rwanda Development Board, RDB, has announced that the new COVID-19 measures have not interrupted or stopped the tourism in the country, but have instead ensured that there is a reduction in the COVID-19 testing fees for those touring the country.
A cross-section of those working in the tourism sector say that protecting themselves against COVID-19 is key despite the challenges it poses to the sector. Obstacles are there and cannot be avoided, which include a reduction in the number of tourists visiting the country because of finances. An example, if a tourist was to stay for 3 days, they need to plan for 4 days and also equip themselves with money to get tested for the virus. Clients definitely reduced. Before, it was not a must for them to get tested at the hotels. So now it means that if you're from Kigali and you reach Musanze, you already have to be tested again, even though you are tested in Kigali. That's an increase to their budget. The CEO of the Rwanda Development Board, Claire Kamanzi, says that the tourism goes hand in hand with respecting COVID-19 measures. She, however, adds these new measures does not affect the tourism but has instead made it easier for the sector. The way we are fighting this pandemic and how we are supporting the tourism sector, these measures have not hindered any tourism activities. The visitors or those who want to travel locally will not be affected in any way. What we are asking for is that anyone who will be visiting these hotels will have to get tested first so that they are sure of their health. That's the only thing that has changed. The price has also reduced greatly to 10,000 Rwandan francs for each test. Statistics released by the RDB reveals that in 2019 and before COVID-19, revenue from the tourism sector was around $498 million, a 17% surplus over the $425 million recorded in 2018. In 2019, Rwanda also welcomed more than 1.6 million tourists, of which 17,249 visited the gorillas. In 2019, tickets on sale to enter the park were valued at $25.1 million, an increase of 25% over 2018. In 2019, overall, the national parks recorded a revenue valued at $28.9 million, of which 91% came from the Volcanoes National Park. Fiona Mbabazi reporting for RTV News.
Kwizera, the founder and CEO of Water Access Rwanda, is one of the winners of the 2020 Global Citizen Prize, which is given to people who have made a significant contribution towards helping poor people. And this evening, we're glad to be joined by Kwizera Christelle, the CEO and founder of Water Access Rwanda. Good evening, Christelle, and thank you very much for joining us.
Good evening, Sam. Thank you for having me.
Right. I just saw it. It was very nice and tremendous joy as Nick Jonas brought you the good news that you're one of the winners. First of all, let's start there. How did it feel?
It felt amazing. It still feels amazing. It was a very unbelievable moment. I was competing against two other very amazing young people in the global development sector. So not only did I feel like they also deserved to win, but I also didn't expect to receive an award at such a high level. Right. So being told, first of all, seeing Nick Jonas on my screen, and then being told I won was a big surprise for me. And I think my joy in the video shows how very unexpected it really was.
And straight to business, what will this add to your main simple, affordable and reliable access to clean water as your agenda? This price, what will it add to your normal activities as access to Water Access Rwanda?
Thank you. This year has been a very challenging year for our company, as for anybody else. As a company, we made the decision to focus on two main things. One, make sure that water flows,
right.
Even as most of our clients saw interruption of their incomes, we made sure that they still had access to water by giving free water and extending payment plans where it was possible. We also made sure to keep all our employees intact and keep the jobs as much as we could. A prize like this coming in a time like this not only will help us rebuild the little that was lost in 2020, but it puts us back on track to our 2030 vision, which will see us reach 12 countries by 2030, where we will reach over 30 million people with daily access to safe and affordable drinking water. So this is a catalyst, as I say. It's not a prize that's going to change what we do as a company. It's one that's going to boost our work, make it better, make us more effective and efficient.
Right. Tell us, to someone who really don't know what access to what Water Access Rwanda is, what is it?
Yes, Water Access Rwanda, it's such a simple name, many people forget. But we're a youth-led social enterprise that seeks to end the water crisis and create employment for young people.
Right.
So every solution we have in the company is designed to be simple, affordable, and durable. So we have, for example, the first of its kind safe water mini grid that we call Inuma. We have rainwater harvesting solutions that reward people in urban areas for harvesting free rainwater and using it in the rain season. We have solutions that help farmers irrigate. So we're a company that produces innovative solutions and spreads very simple technology. Our technology is very simple,
right.
But we deploy our technology in such a way that water is affordable, reliable, so much so that our clients forget about how the water reaches them. So that's our target in the end, to make water so simple, so reliable that people no longer have to worry about it.
Absolutely. As a young person creating such a solution, not only local but also regional, how does it feel and how did you make it happen?
Yes, water is an issue that's affecting everybody. And it's felt across the globe. I think with COVID-19, there was a renewed focus on how little access to water there is in rural areas. Now, many rural areas in Africa are all the same. People do laundry at the river, they don't do laundry at home. Women lose hundreds of millions of hours every day working to find water. So that's why we, as a company, although our name is Water Access Rwanda, we're trying to rebrand to Water Access Africa, because our vision is very Pan-African. We want to come from Rwanda and impact how rural communities across sub-Saharan Africa access their clean water, safe water, but also water for productive usage, such as for agriculture.
Right. You just tackled on it. 2020 been very tough year to every business, be it a small, micro, or even large enterprises. But how has it been for Water Access Rwanda?
Yes, exactly as I said, it was a tough year for us, but not because the business was heavily affected itself, but because our clients were affected. COVID-19 saw a rise in water demand because we needed to hand wash more than before. There was a bigger focus on hygiene and sanitation to keep ourselves safe from COVID. So there was kind of two ways to respond as a business. One, you take advantage of the rising demand and make more money for yourself. But for us as a social enterprise, we noticed that our customers were out of their daily income. During lockdown, many of our customers could not get even enough food to feed their families. So this was absolutely not the time to try to make more money. It was the time to reach out with solidarity and compassion. And so during lockdown, for example, we provided free water. We increased the financing for all our services. So you can get any of our services, from irrigation products, filtration products, you can get it on financing up to 12 months. And our idea here is, I'm a strong believer in shared value creation. And I strongly believe that a business is only successful if the community it's in is successful. So for us, 2020 was a year where we really lived by what we believe. We kept the taps open. We made sure people had access to water.
Right.
We made sure that our employees still had a job to come to, despite whatever the company went through. But as we did that, we had a few enablers as a company. First of all, we started the year with a lot of cash from the Jack Ma Award that we received last year, the Africa Business Heroes Award. So we decided to really direct a lot of our existing resources to not only keeping the company afloat, but keeping our clients afloat as well. So
Right.
that's why, as we rebuilt from 2020, there is a feeling of catching up. We had goals and ambitions for 2020 that we unfortunately were delayed. But this prize and other fundraising we've done this year is going to put us back on track and help us even advance faster towards our 2030 vision.
Finally, before I let you go rest and continue enjoying the prize, how about 2021?
2021 is going to be an amazing and exciting year. I hope to have all of Kigali seeing firsthand what it feels like to have reliable water. We have major goals for expansion. We have new services that target urban residents. Most people watching the news right now, Water Access Rwanda will have a product for you next year. We will increase access to clean water in the rural areas on a major scale. We already have 3 mini grids that we were supposed to do in 2020 that we're going to do in 2021. But on top of that, as a company, we've raised almost $500,000. That's going to go towards establishing new water points for everyone. We're going to increase our machinery. That's always a point of concern. And we're going to hire. So all young professionals in Kigali who want to work for an amazing company creating impact, please watch out and apply to come and join us.
Thank you very much, Christelle, for your time, and have a good time. And the interview with Christelle brings us to the end of our tonight's edition. On behalf of the entire news team that made it happen, thank you very much for being with us. My name is Sam Kalisa. Please observe social distancing whenever in public. Wash your hands regularly with clean water and soap. And please remember to wear your face mask correctly. And yes, together we can bring down the curve of spread of COVID-19. Till next time, have a good evening and a fruitful week ahead.